Today we've got a special guest, the man himself, Edward Chinano. The man is an author, an activist. He's a Zimbabwean citizen himself, so I'm sure he knows what's going on the ground in Zimbabwe. Mr. Chinano, we want to thank you for coming to the show and talk to us today.
Thank you, Mr. Nokwara. I hope it's a pleasure to be here.
Can you briefly tell our listeners and those who are watching us who Mr. Edward Chinano is, your credentials?
Oh, that's easy. Edward Chinano is an ordinary Zimbabwean citizen. I started my career in teaching. I taught in Manicaland and Mutare for 16 years. And in 2004, when the government failed to grant me study leave, I left teaching and went to Africa University to study peace and governance. After that, I traveled to The Hague in the Netherlands, where I read for a postgraduate diploma in governance, democratization, and public policy. I also trained as a transitional justice fellow at the Institute for Justice and Reconciliation in Cape Town, South Africa. That was set by Nelson Mandela after the TRC of that country. I was also invited in 2011 by Rotary International to undergo a senior certificate fellowship in peace and conflict resolution at Chulalongkorn University in Bangkok, Thailand. While in Bangkok, Thailand, I traveled to Cambodia, where I found there the people coming to terms with their past after the Pol Pot's Khmer Rouge killings, the killing fields, right? So besides those qualifications, I've also read and studied all the transitional justice processes across the world, the Gacaca in Rwanda, the one in Germany, Timor-Leste, everywhere in the world. I've read and discussed those. I've studied them. My biggest qualification, Mr. Nokwara, is that I belong to the tribe called Tangwena. I am a Newa, Simboti, Tangwena. And traditionally, my grandfather, Rekai Tangwena, was known for peace in the Nyanga area and Makoni areas. So the vein I'm traveling into is not strange. It's not strange to me at all. My forefathers have traveled before.
I heard you talking about transitional justice. What is transitional justice?
Oh, transitional justice is a process by which a country moves from conflict or pain or human rights abuses or war to democracy. It's a move from past governance, past life experiences to democracy. That is transitional justice, Mr. Nokwara.
This interview we're talking about, actually we're titling it, What Are We Waiting For? Takamiri. And from me to you, Takamiri.
That's a very good question. It's a very good question, Mr. Nokwara. Thank you very much. Indeed, it puzzles me what we as Zimbabweans are waiting for. We have tried everything. We've done everything. Politics, jambanja, marches, demonstrations, even coups. But we still haven't achieved the happiness that we have, that we deserve. So my question is, what is stopping us? What are we waiting for? From my analysis, Mr. Nokwara, I find that just waiting because we are lazy. We are lazy. Because as I have been preaching around, this country needs transitional justice for it to come out of its problem. The kind of problem, in every holiday, our roads turn into floods of blood because of accidents. And recently in Chipinge, people were swallowed into the bowels of the earth. Lives and their villages were swallowed into the earth. Just like that.
Which is sad.
And you think that is normal? That is normal? Is that normal? I mean, nothing. There's no life like that. We can see clearly that our land needs cleansing. We know the wrongs that we did during the war of liberation. We did not compensate anyone. And we did not visit families to find out what they lost, what they had gone through. And to compensate those who needed to be compensated, we were just silent. We were silent. And yet, we are the only country in the world that has gone through war and the human rights abuse and still has not done any transitional justice. And can I tell you another thing? We are not even a nation, Zimbabwe. We are just a conglomeration of Manyika, Zulu, Dau, Ndebele, and so on. We are not a nation at all. So what are we waiting for? The opportunity is here. The opportunity is here. And I want to mention one thing. Well, on the opportunity, I want the world and the Zimbabwe to turn its eyes on President Emmerson Mnangagwa and look at his trajectory. You know what? That guy is a freedom fighter. He is a liberator. Look at what he has done. First, he liberated us from Ian Smith. Did you hear his narratives of the way he was tortured after his arrest by the Ian Smith regime? Right. And then he liberated us from Robert Mugabe. Do you remember the painful life that we lived under Robert Mugabe for 36, 37 years? And Emmerson Mnangagwa freed us from that. Right? And now look at what he's doing. I'm more pleased about what he's doing right now. Emmerson Mnangagwa is talking to the living victims of the Bukura Hundi massacres in Matabeleland. He is doing that. Emmerson Mnangagwa has promised the white farmers who had lost their land, their investments on their land, $3.5 billion compensation. Now, isn't that liberation? Isn't that transitional justice? So instead of supporting him, instead of criticizing him, I, Edward Chinanu, a transitional justice fellow, a trained one for that matter, would like to get an opportunity to meet Mr. Emmerson Mnangagwa, President Emmerson Mnangagwa, and shake his hand and congratulate him and tell him that I'm behind him. I'm his team on that. Right? He's cleansing our land, but he's getting no support at all. Right? And now I realize why those bosses that were blocking me from meeting him were doing so. I now know, because they were afraid that if Edward Chinanu joins Emmerson Mnangagwa and they become a team, the new Zimbabwe is here. It's here already. So I want that opportunity, please. I've already written to Minister Obam Chinguri, who is the chair lady for ZANU-PF, and I've also written to Mr. Obet Mpofu, who is also the Secretary General of ZANU-PF. I'm making this public announcement because I am going to contact them to grant me the opportunity to congratulate President Mnangagwa on his trajectory, and then tell him that I'm on his team. The problem is that, Mr. Nokwara, people are not responding. They are not responding to his efforts. They are just ignoring him. As if he's playing politics. No, he's not playing politics. That man is a peacemaker. He liberated us from Ian Smith and Robert Mugabe. And now look what he's doing. Can't you seize that opportunity? Instead of criticizing him, seize that opportunity. And he cleans our land. And then in 2023, we have our elections. And we will find the kind of elections that we have in 2023. They'll be different from all those others we have held before. Because of this cleansing, I tell you this.
What part is the opposition? What part is the opposition party playing in terms of transitional justice itself?
Zero, Mr. Nokwara. They are politicians. If they want jobs, they can apply like everybody else. But we won't be doing politics. We'll be cleansing our land. So they have to apply for jobs. Although I'm happy to tell you that as a person who has been working on this transitional justice for a long time, since 2008, I have a special team of Zimbabweans who are in the diaspora and in Zimbabwe who I've chosen to work with in the first part of a transitional justice process. These are the guys I will consult and work closely with. And I can tell you some of the names if you persuade me.
I'll try and do that. I'll try and do that next time. I understand. I understand you're an author yourself. You've written 2 books. Can you tell us the titles of the books? What the books are about?
Oh yes, the first book is Hanging by a Thread. A quest to end Zimbabwe's political conflict. A peace builder's quest to end Zimbabwe's political conflict. You know what happened to that book? It was published sometime in 2020, I think. And, you know, my publishers threw it on the internet. And then somebody removed it from the internet. For some time, and I complained. But then I was happy that at least I was safe. I was alive. Because I was filled with fear. Because that book tells about Zimbabwe from 1982 2017, I think, when Mugabe died. No. 2019, I think. It tells the whole story from 18 January 1982, that time. The kind of life we lived before when the whites were still here, the kind of life we lived when the whites went away, the kind of life people lived on the farms, the harassments, the torture, the beatings, and so on. It's all in that book. And then the second book here has not yet been published. It is called Redefining Zimbabwean Peace, Diary of a Peacemaker.
What is it about?
That one is my real book. That one is the real book for Zimbabwe. That book, because I'm redefining Zimbabwean peace. I'm saying peace is not silence. Peace is not silence. Some people think that if people don't strike, don't demonstrate, don't talk,
isn't it fear to be, to protest, to show your disagreement with the government, and fear of getting arrested and stuff?
Exactly. And that is not peace at all. Is fear peace? No. No. So that book is about that. I'm redefining Zimbabwean peace. And I lay step by step processes of how we can reconcile ourselves as Zimbabweans. Our culture is one of the richest in the world. We can teach the world how to be human. Because we have Unu inside Ubuntu. We can teach the world how to live as humans, not the way they are currently living. But where is that talent? Is that waiting there? So I'm asking, what are we waiting for?
That's actually a good question. So where can we find this book now that you said it was taken off internet and stuff? At the moment, like currently, we're talking now. Where can people find your first book?
It's there now. It's there on the internet. And this is what I would love to meet President Mnangagwa for. No violation of that. My book is there for access. Although I'm not receiving the money, the publishers are receiving it. This is why I want the next. This is why I want my next book to be published in the country.
So it's not published in Zimbabwe. Is there any reason it's not published in Zimbabwe? Your first book?
No, it's because it's self-published. I wanted to do it chop, because I was burning inside as I wrote it. It's like I self-published it. The self-publishers get the monies, I have to order some sets of books from them at $20 each, and then sell at another price here.
All right. So people can contact you on your number, yeah?
Sure, yes.
So are you happy for us to write your number under this screenshot and give them your information so that people can call you and buy the book itself?
Very happy, Mr. Nokwara. I have no problem with that. I'm an international guy, man.
So, Zimbabwe itself, I think we are suffering from corona as Zimbabweans and stuff. Do you see the government itself, is it acting enough to help its citizens with testing facilities? And now that the vaccines are coming out, do you feel like the government is doing enough to supply the vaccines itself?
Well, I would love to support to answer that question in terms of the Zimbabwean conflict, not Corona vis-a-vis the Zimbabwean conflict, not as a response to government's efforts. No, right. The impact of coronavirus on Zimbabwe in March 2020, was disastrous because coronavirus came down on a people who were already locked down. We were already under lockdown before coronavirus came.
Okay.
Yes. Right? Besides under lockdown by a government, a 40-year-old government, which is not even wanted by the people, cruel to the people. We were under lockdown by the EU and the American sanctions, economic sanctions. Right? And then Corona found us and locked us further down again. So we are dead, man. This country needs cleansing.
So is the government supplying, free testing facilities, free vaccines, as we can see around the world? Everything like vaccines and testing facilities should be free, or the government is making people to pay for these facilities?
Yes, the government is freely supplying that now and actively encouraging people to go and get tested. The government of Mr. Mnangagwa on coronavirus is very up to date at the moment.
Are the lockdowns are the lockdowns helping people not to spread the disease itself?
No, the lockdowns are not helping us at all. The lockdowns are locking us back from money. You know, most of us are, you know, civil petty money workers. You know, we survive by selling sadza. We survive by cutting iron and so on, informal jobs. But the lockdown has locked us from that, and yet we don't meet any people suffering from coronavirus on our streets.
So the government should.
The government is taking good measures.
Okay, so the government should not lock down people.
Should not completely lock down people. Discussions must be made. Times must be scheduled. When to lock down and when to let people earn some money.
So, in terms of education, I understand you have been in the education system for 16 years. You're an educator yourself. Do you feel like the children who are Form 4s, Form 6 at the moment can still sit down and write the exams now that the schools are closed, or they have to repeat the same syllabus again because they didn't finish their schools? It's just a mere talk.
Your question reminds me of a joke that I heard another guy say.
Yes, sir.
He said, I want to see what this government is going to do. Because they are not allowing students to repeat. They are saying go to the next level, go to the same level. I want to see if they will allow a grade 7 to write a Form 6 examination paper.
Look, I get the situation. Mr. Chinnan, we want to thank you for joining us today. Is there anything that we missed that we could talk about today, or sometime when we catch up we'll talk about something else? But if there's something we missed today, what message do you want to send to those who are blocking you to meet up with the president himself to sort of like introduce this transitional justice model you have to him?
Thank you very much for that, Mr. Nokwara. The message is for them, please, to allow me to be a team, to make a team with President Mnangagwa on the transitional justice issue. I am trained in this, guys. I have traveled the world training in this, observing this. So allow me to meet President Mnangagwa and pave the way forward for our country. Comrade Obed Mpofu, the Secretary General, and Minister Opam Chimburi Kashiri, the chair lady of the party. Please give me access. Thank you very much.
Mr. Edward Chinnan, we want to thank you for joining us today.